Here's something that's been bothering me, and I want to talk about it today because I think it explains something that nobody has ever really been able to explain to me in a way that made sense. Why do we keep not doing the things we know we should be doing? And I'm especially talking about your sphere of influence here, staying in touch with people, making calls, but honestly, it applies to a lot of things besides just your sphere of influence. And I want to show you something today that two researchers figured out that I think is going to change how you look at this. Because when I heard it, I was like, that's it. That's the reason why I haven't been able to change, and it's the reason you haven't either, so stick with me. Okay, I want to start with a story, and this is one that if you've been in real estate more than a year or two, I'm guessing this has happened to you, and if it hasn't, plan on that it's going to. So I'm driving through my neighborhood one afternoon, and I turn the corner, and there's a for sale sign in front of a house. Now, this isn't just any house, it's my neighbor Tracy's house. Now, what you need to understand is I've coached baseball with Tracy for probably 3 years. His son and my son, same team, same age. We had spent, hundreds of hours out on the baseball field. We were friends. And then there it is. There's a for sale sign in his yard with an agent's name on it that isn't mine. So I get on the phone and I call him, and he tells me that he's gotten a job transfer, that they're moving him to Texas. And the agent told him that they needed to use a certain company. And here's the part that really got me is he said, I just didn't know I could even request you as an agent. If I had known, I totally would have called you. So it wasn't that he didn't want to use me as an agent. He just forgot. In the moment when it actually mattered, another agent's name came up because his company said, you need to work through these people. So I'll tell you the number on that house in just a minute because it gets worse than what I've already told you. But first, I want to tell you about these two researchers and what they figured out that I think explains exactly why this happened and why it keeps happening to all of us. So there were these two researchers, one from Harvard and the other one from NYU. The one guy's name was Hal Hirschfield and the other guy was Daniel Goldstein. And they spent years studying why smart, capable people consistently don't do the things they know that will benefit them in the future. Now, here's what they found. They put people on brain scanners, and when they asked the people to think about themselves right now, certain parts of the brain lit up. And these parts of the brain that lit up are the parts that light up when we think about people that we know. Then they asked them to think about their future self, like 5 years from now, 10 years from now. What is life going to be like for them? And here's what's interesting. An entirely different part of the brain lit up. The part of the brain that lights up when you ask them to think about a complete stranger. So here's the thing. Your brain doesn't experience your future self as if it is actually you. It literally processes your future self the same way that it processes someone you've never met in your life. And when I heard that, I was like, oh, that's it. That's the whole thing. So think about it this way. Here's what happens when it's a Tuesday morning and you've got your phone in your hand and you know you should be reaching out to your sphere. But instead, you go handle some emails, you go check on some other problem on a deal, you go talk to an escrow or a title company, something that actually feels like work, but it isn't actually building your business. Now, here's the thing. What I want you to know is you're not being lazy. You're literally choosing between a real person, your present right now person, and a future stranger that you don't really know, meaning your future self. And of course, the real person, the present you, is going to win this battle every single time. What we think in our brain is the future self or the stranger, they can wait. Okay, so let's go back to my story about Tracy. Here's what I told you about and what gets worse in it. That next weekend, just a few days after I found out that Tracy had gotten a job transfer and he was moving, I'm pulling into my cul-de-sac and there it is, a for sale sign on my neighbor 2 doors down. A for sale sign is in front of their house. And guess what? It's the exact same agent that was in front of Tracy's house. So I call them on the phone, and they tell me what happened is they went over to Tracy's open house on Saturday, and they talked to the agent and just told him, hey, we need to move, and so we need to get our house sold. Now, here's the worst part. Tracy's house sold for $500,000. Their house sold for $500,000. So $1 million worth of transactions walked out of my neighborhood in one weekend. People that I knew, people who I am sure would have used me if I had just stayed in touch with them and stayed in front of them. And here's the thing that I always keep coming back to. It's not their fault that they didn't use me. They didn't go out and look for another agent because they didn't like me. They didn't go out and look for another agent because they were unhappy with me. They did it because in the moment when it actually mattered, I wasn't the name that popped up to the top of their mind, because I had let present me keep winning over thinking about future me and making those phone calls to stay in touch. So here's what I want to be clear about. This is not a motivation problem. I've watched agents who are good agents, hardworking agents, go to a training, they get fired up, they go home, they're like, this would work. I can do this and I can actually get it to work. But they either never start, which is what mostly happens, or they start for a very short period of time and then they stop. And the reason they stop isn't that they've lost motivation. That's not the problem. It's that motivation just has a half-life. You get it, it's burning hot, and then life happens and it's gone. And then you feel bad about yourself, and then you tell yourself, well, I'll just start over again and do it next week. And you know how this goes. You've lived it over and over and over again. And here's the part that just really gets me. After enough of those cycles, you develop a second problem on top of the first problem. Now you just don't have a procrastination problem. Now you've got a, I tried it before and I just stopped doing it problem. And that belief that it won't work for you specifically, that's the thing that's actually killing your business. It's not the market, it's not the competition, it's that quiet voice that says, yeah, but I know myself. So here's what I want to say to you. You already know what to do. That is not the issue. The issue is that your present self just keeps winning. And now that you know why, now that you understand it's not a character flaw, it's literally how your brain is wired, it's how my brain is wired, it's how everyone's brain is wired. So the question is, what are you going to do about it? So here's what they found. The researchers didn't just identify the problem. They found out that when you help people feel more connected to their future self, when that stranger starts to feel a little bit more like you rather than somebody out there that you meet someday, the behavior can actually change. And one of the simplest ways to make that happen is find one small action that you can do. Something that is so specific, so right now, that is like you today, present you could do it. If you can do that, then you'll actually do it before the resistance actually kicks in. Now, here's what I'm not talking about. I'm not talking about a whole system overhaul. I'm not talking about a 3-hour CRM session, not a plan you're going to implement on Monday. What I'm talking about is one name, one text or phone call today. So open up your contacts, like right now, open up your contacts, scroll down until you land on your contacts on somebody that you think, I genuinely actually do wonder how they're doing. Not who might give me a referral, who do you actually just want to talk to? That's what I want you to do. Make it that simple, that specific, and that's easy. Now, if you're gonna send them a text, just send them a text that says this: hey, blank, whatever their name is, randomly thought of you, how is, and then whatever you know about their life, your family, your kids, your job, whatever it is, that's it. I want you to pick something that is so simple, so easy, that you literally could pause this video and be done with it in 30 seconds or less. That's what I want you to do. Now look, I know this sounds too simple. I know you're thinking, that's not a strategy, that's just texting someone. But here's what I'll tell you. That is exactly how you get this to start. That one conversation is the thing that present you keeps deciding that a stranger can handle later on. And again, that future self, the one with the referral business, the predictable income, with a pipeline that isn't starting at zero every single month, that person got built one conversation at a time. And guess what? They started today. Not when the market was better, not when they had more time, not when they found a system that actually felt more natural to them. They started today. So I want to get you to pause the video right now, go find somebody that you feel okay about sending that text to. I don't care who it is, just find one person. Okay, I started this video by saying I've been bothered by something. And what bothers me is this. The agents that I see who are stuck, they're not stuck because they don't know what to do. They're stuck because their brain keeps choosing their present self over their future self. And now you know the reason why that is happening. So the only question left really is whether you're going to use that to your advantage. Will you find that one name, send one text right now? If you haven't done it, pause and do it right now before you close out this video, before you move on to the next thing. Your future self is watching. So I want you to go make that call. Now, if you're ready to learn the whole system I use to build this out, click on the link in the description and take a look at that video, and I'll show you how to turn this into a full-blown system that is going to build a predictable business for you.